a Nerd, and you are here for our April 2017 Coffee Pot webinar, where we are talking today with Dan Mintz from MetaJure, who's going to talk about an iteration of the MetaJure product called Illuminate. Now, I'll let Dan tell you the details, but MetaJure is something that can find anything anywhere and index it using metadata and using the text in the documents so that you can basically have a document management system of all the stuff that's on your computer without even having to put it away. Now, we're talking today about a different iteration of the product, which is really for use with Worldox or with Practice Master's document management, meaning that it can go beyond what might be in Worldox and beyond what might be in Practice Master to find those things that either didn't get put away or shouldn't have been put away but need to be searched, or were there a long time ago and need to be searchable, but nobody wants to spend the time to get them into Worldox or into Practice Master. So that's MetaJure's Illuminate product. So without any further ado, I'm going to press a series of magic buttons. Let's see here. And we are going to change to Dan's screen, and he is going to tell us all about, if I can just do this, I can't actually do this and talk at the same time, Dan. That's what's gone wrong here.
Okay.
Dan's going to tell us all about himself and MetaJure and Illuminate. Go ahead, Dan. Go for it.
That sounds great, Paul. I'm going to go ahead and show my screen. And hold on one second. We'll be all ready to go. Look good, Paul?
It looks great.
And none of those on the screen is me, unfortunately. But thank you so much for thank you for the intro, Paul. And I'm going to tell you about MetaJure Illuminate. Illuminate basically got its name from lighting up the dark data at your firm. And this is a product to work directly with Worldox and Practice Master, turning your document management system into a knowledge management system. And so I'm gonna go through a few slides first and give you a feel for the problem we're addressing, how we're addressing it, how this works. And then what I'll do is show you, actually walk you through the interface to search and find information and share via MetaJure. So just to kind of give you a feel for what's been driving firms our direction towards Illuminate to work directly with document management, basically it's been the increase in the amount of electronic information. In fact, we tracked our own clients last year to see that the average lawyer created or received about 26,000 documents and emails during the year, about 70 to 80 a day, and the numbers are going up. In fact, we tracked a 30% increase over a 2-year period. A lot of that's email. You can see from the orange on the screen. But there's been a lot more electronic documents, more PDFs, and mostly because firms are going more and more paperless. It's going that direction. But the challenges are that the volume of data is really growing faster than we can even file it. Especially on the email side. There's so much of it coming in. And it's important to make sure that you're on top of all that email. It's important to collaborate, share the email. There's a lot more lobbying transacted via email, but it's harder to find the information that didn't get filed. And we call that the dark data. Kind of like my slide on the left-hand side of the iceberg. It's the stuff beneath the surface. Stuff you don't see, you don't know where it is, and you don't know. You just see the tip of the iceberg, but not beneath the surface. But it's hard to become more efficient as a firm if you don't have easy access to all your information. This is really the challenge that we address at MetaJure, or MetaJure Illuminate. So what we've done is we collect all information across the firm, no matter where it is. So if it didn't get into Worldox or Practice Master, we're on top of it. So we're able to also tap into what is in Worldox and Practice Master. So we're looking at everything, whether it be in the DMS, on a PC, an email, on a file share, hooking into a file share with legacy data, whatever is out there, we're going to grab that information, but we're also grabbing that automatically. There's no changes required at all to your daily workflow to use this. No one has to change what they're doing. keep saving information in the Worldox, Practice Master, using Outlook for email. You might be dragging email into different folders. Whatever you're doing, however you're organizing and saving information, you keep doing it. There's not any change required to use this. And then getting information out is very, very easy and intuitive. And really, it's pretty much as easy as using Google. If you can use Google, then you can use MetaJure. I want to walk through just a little bit on the approach, kind of how this works. Now, the primary software for MetaJure is actually sitting on a server. It's typically behind your firewall, but it can also be hosted. That's okay. It just needs to be on a server. There's also a little agent behind the scenes that sits on PCs. It's called MetaSync. We like to refer to it as the MetaJure robot, and that's actually behind the scenes collecting, copying, email, and if there's documents on PCs, it can hook into that and copy and collect that also. And it brings that to the server that MetaJure's on. And it's also grabbing with the metadata around it. So metadata on a file could be the file name, the folder it's saved into, but on an email it could be who it sent to, received from, the subject, you drag email to, the relationship between multiple attachments, the same email. So that that's all metadata that helps inform the search. That's grabbed from the email, and so we're actually little robots connecting into the local client, and then bringing that email up to the server. Everything, all the emails collected. Next, we're actually connecting into other data repositories, whether it be file shares, and of course connecting into Worldox, Practice Master, any other repositories of information will also connect in. The difference is we don't copy that information like we do off the PCs and email. We leave that in place and index it, but we respect any permissions you have attached to it. And so basically, when you're using MetaJure, you could actually use it as a portal into everything, including Worldox and Practice Master, and really see everything that across the entire firm that you have permission to see. So if you don't have permission to see something, it won't show up in MetaJure at all in the results. Everybody's going to have a little bit different search results based upon the permissions they've been granted. So again, back to security. Any security on your Worldox, Practice Master, other repositories, you set all that, and we respect it. And then MetaJure is used for setting permissions around email sharing and Outlook. And then if there is going to be any sharing of PC documents, that would be done in MetaJure. Now here's a big one for a lot of firms is the whole OCR, or optical character recognition, just to make sure that every single image-only file, every scanned document is text searchable. What happens is a lot of times when you scan documents, they don't always turn the OCR on. It may slow the scanning process down. Not everybody does it, and even if you do, you get a lot of emails, attachments in from others that may not have done them when they scanned. So what MetaJure did is we built in OCR technology, actually from a firm called Abby, ABBYY. They're like #1 OCR technology right now in the world. We built it into MetaJure, wrote a backend process to look for everything that needs to be OCR. So everything will become text searchable. And you don't have to do anything. It just runs it as a backend process behind the scenes. And the reason is that we're using a lot of this great metadata to help inform the search and find stuff, but you want to make sure that the text of every single document also will inform the search. So the only way to make sure that happens is to do it all automatically, so no one has to do anything. So that's all going on behind the scenes, just like indexing everything. Don't have to think about it. And then what you get is a nice, very intuitive interface. I'm going to show you right now. You can also use it on mobile devices when you're out of the office, as long as you connect into the server. This is all your information behind your firewall. So you can basically pull up MetaJure once you're connected in any browser. It runs in a browser, basically any browser. There's not a separate app that's needed on the front end. So with that, I'm going to launch off and go ahead and show you what the user interface looks like. I'm going to just go ahead and pull that up, the browser. So here is the interface for MetaJure. And this is what it would look like when using Illuminate. This is very typical. It's our demo site, but this is typically what it looks like at a law firm using Illuminate. So you have your logo on the top left, the Google-like search bar, and on the left-hand side are ways in which you can further narrow your search results based upon criteria like the location information, whether it's your PC, shared PCs, and this could be primarily email. It'll show who you're sharing with. And then any repository we connect to will line up right down below shared PCs. So if you have file shares, maybe a K drive, DocuSign documents, an area, if a drive where you scan documents in, and then of course Worldox, Practice Master can show up. Anything that we're connecting to, it's going to show up right down below shared PCs and show you how much is in there, and allow you to narrow the search results if you wish by that location. You can also narrow by the type of file, whether it's an email or type of document. Not limited to these four. This is what we have on our demo site. If you have other types of documents, like, for example, WordPerfect, we can do that too. And then you can narrow by date or date range. Okay. So what I'm going to do is show you some sample searching on MetaJure, finding information, what that looks like. And again, we're looking across everything, and we're going to see what we have permission to see. And speaking of permission, I thought before I show you the search, I wanted to show you the sharing piece, because if you wanted to use MetaJure for sharing email and Outlook, you can do it very easily through MetaJure just by clicking the sharing link. And even though we're capturing all email sharing by default is turned off. So you at least find your own email in MetaJure. But if you want to go and open up email to others at the firm, very easy to do. You basically just enable that by clicking the sharing link. And then what will happen is the system is going to replicate your folder structure in Outlook. So you wait a few seconds, it's going to show your folders. You didn't have to type in this in, it just comes up, your folder structure. And then you can decide if you want to keep a folder not shared, share with everybody, or selectively share with certain people. So for example, here's my top level inbox. And I've left that not shared because I got a lot of stuff coming in my inbox. I don't really want to open that up to everyone, but I drag email into different folders. Like the 2001 plan folder, I'm sharing that with everybody. So I have walled off a few people, but besides that, I'm sharing that with everyone at the firm here. And if there's a new lawyer that gets onboarded, they're going to see that also because I've hit share with all. But other folders like the NCL folder, I've shared selectively with certain people. So I click selectively shared. And when I do that, I get a little prompt to select users. If I select it, it'll show who I'm sharing with. And if I want to share with anybody additional, I just hit add users, click who else I want to share with, hit share, and immediately that email is going to be in that folder is going to be open up to the additional person. That's really all I need to do to share that knowledge in my email, is just decide how and with who I want to open that up to. Lawyers may use this, and maybe a lot of times the admins will do this for them. But the main thing is it's very easy, intuitive to use. And there's other options too. If you want to be able to only share attachments, you can do that. If you want to define an admin that can see everything, not set separate permissions, you can do that. Just select the admin and hit save, and that's it. And I've got two actually selected, so they can see all the email, and I don't have to set permissions for them. And then when you set up subfolders, they're going to inherit the permissions of a top level folder, unless you uncheck the default. So again, anyway, these are just some different sharing options. You can also create ethical walls if you wish to wall someone off for conflict of interest. So there's a lot of extra security in that too. So it allows you to be able to also share email through Outlook. That's in Outlook without having to change your workflow, and you're still putting information in folders, and it still maintains confidentiality. So I want to show that piece first. Now we'll go back to the searching side. How do you search in MetaJure and find information across all data locations? And I'm going to show some examples. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show an example looking for a version of a document. I'm going to look for an amendment to an agreement for a firm named Aspect. And the reason that I wanted to use that is because Aspect is a common word that might typically show up in non-relevant results in your typical text search. But with MetaJure, it handles that differently. If I go ahead and type in Aspect agreement, not just going to look as aspect or agreement in the body of a document or email. It's going to look as aspect and agreement together in a file name, together in the email subject. Is there a folder name aspect? It's looking at the content and the context of the information. So the whole goal is to return relevant results very quickly. So if I search on that, just hit find, or I can hit enter. Either way, it's gonna return back information on documents related. Actually, let's go ahead and search for the amendments here. I'm going to look for an amendment. Okay, let's go ahead. I want to find actually the amendment to the agreement. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to look for the amendment to that aspect agreement, and because I want to show that there's, it's showing a number of information types, data types. There's PDFs, Word files, there's emails, and they're all relevant to amendments that are relevant to the firm name aspect and not the word aspect. I can see if I wish, if I just want to see the email around that, I can just click email, just filter by that. And maybe I want to see the correspondence went back and forth and negotiating an amendment the last time, and I want to see how we got there. So I just want to look at that email. Or I can go back to all file types, and I can see that a version number was used in the file naming convention, a great best practice. Not required in MetaJure, because MetaJure is going to show the most recent version of a document on top anyway. And then it's going to show you the duplicate documents. So we don't want to clutter up the search results with duplicates, but you might want to see where they're at. So I can see that there's 2 duplicate documents. It's not obvious because the file names are totally different. But what constitutes duplication is same type of document, they're both Word files, and an exact character match. So even an extra dot is not a duplicate. So I can see where they're at. We capture that, all that is metadata, the folder name. So you can see that this one's sitting in Gerald's inbox, and the other document is sitting in the Perlinger folder in closed files in the client's drive. So if I wanted to clean up duplication, I can do it. I can see where the documents are located. We go one step further on the search results. Those little folder paths, those links, can be clicked and dive into those folders also. So it provides another way to browse for information. So if I look at this amendment on top and there's a folder, it's in a folder Perlinger D, I can click on that and see the files in there, maybe go one level up to closed files, look at the subfolders. So it's another way again to browse for information that might be relevant to the topic. And because it's showing up, it's showing up because I've got access to those folders. So otherwise, again, it wouldn't even show up and allow me to click on it. So again, another way to look for information. Also, anything that shows up in that search result, if I click on it, it's going to show me immediately a text preview pane. So quickly, I can see what's in there without even having to open the document or email. So I can look at that, and that's actually a scanned PDF, scanned document. It was a signed amendment, and because it was OCR'd, I could search on that text also, and the preview pane shows up. Without OCR, if it was just image only, it'd just be a big white blank screen on the right-hand side. Another benefit to the OCR, I can see the highlighted search terms, and if I want, I can just copy and paste text right out of the preview pane if I want to, paste it into a Word document. Then if I want to open up, just click open. It'll go ahead and launch that PDF, or if I'm, like email, if I clicked it, I would go ahead and I can see the email stream. But if I want to click open, I will go ahead and launch Outlook, and we'll show Outlook with the email attachments too. This is just kind of a nice convenience feature to be able to see quickly what's in that document or email. A few other examples for you. I'm going to look for a type of document, one that's done a lot where, like I look for NDAs, I don't want to reinvent the NDA, but I'll just find one that someone else did that I trust and modify theirs. So example here, I'm going to look for a right-of-way agreement that I can modify. And I wanted to use that because the acronym for right-of-way agreement is ROW, and ROW is a really common word that might typically show up in non-relevant results. But in MetaJure, I just type ROW, and immediately what I find are ROW is right-of-way agreements, not row your boat. But there's 1,557 documents and emails. So this is where I might look at some strategies to narrow that information down. So maybe like Google, I can always type more in the search bar, row letter agreement, be more specific. I can always do that. And that gets it down to 269. And then I know it's got to be a document I can modify, so it's got to be a Word file. So I'll go ahead and click on Word. That gets it down to 101. And then maybe I want something out of my client's drive. That gets it down to 62. So what I see here, when I can keep on narrowing if I want, but I see 62 documents in my search result, and they're all actually ordered by relevancy, and that's a default. So relevancy, we have a ranking. One of the things in the ranking is actually high on the list is file name, because lawyers do a pretty good job of using descriptive file names. If you look at the top results, they have letter agreement or row in the file name. But maybe you care more about, let's just find the most recent agreement. You can always override that by just clicking on the drop down, newest to oldest. Now I reorder and I see Station 13 contracts on top. Sure enough, on the right-hand side, it's the newest. And looks like it didn't show up earlier because there was nothing about row letter agreement in the file name, but it's in the body of the document. Also, I want to mention that which something that gets used a lot is that those search results, whether they're documents, emails, whatever they are, they can be packaged up and exported out of the system, export a copy to a zip file, and then save it to a thumb drive or your desktop. So if you click export results, and I won't go through that now, but it will send off all of those actual emails and documents, not just the list, but the emails and documents. That will send that off to a zip file preserved within the folder structure that they're in. And you can save that to a thumb drive if you wish. Let's do another example of looking for something very specific. And I want to look for something specific like an invoice. I know the invoice number. Let's go ahead and type that in, 101-26830. Know that. Go ahead and search on that, and I find it right away. So what I noticed is that it was scanned in, wasn't put in any particular folder. There's not any great file name, but I found it because it was OCR. This is, again, why it's so important to make sure everything gets OCR, because it was picked up in the body of the text of the invoice. This is how it was found. And in addition, we picked up the email that it was attached to. So it looks like the invoice was scanned in, emailed out by Richard Sanders, and then this is that email is attached to. In fact, I can see in the duplicate. Sure enough, that was in his sent items. That was the one. So if I click on that email, I can see there's the invoice number in there also. So when we look at Outlook email, we separate the email from the attachments, because we're going to go and OCR the attachments and index them, but we still preserve the relationship between the email and its attachments too. So again, this is looking for something very, very specific. But MetaJure, what's really nice is that you can be, you could actually just go the other direction. You just browse for information. In fact, if you want, you could not even type anything in the search bar at all. And maybe I just wanted to see information, and I just want to see Worldox. Maybe there's a PowerPoint in there from last May. I just go, Worldox PowerPoint, and go to that date range. Or stuff in my my client's drive, and it's PDF from a certain date range. I can just browse for that information. Or if I wanted to see maybe information regarding mergers, just type in mergers, and actually we'll go ahead and clear those filters. Just look at mergers, everything regarding mergers, and then when I search on a word, if there's any folders with that name, they're always going to show up first. And maybe I want to go dive into those, go check out the merger folder, see what's in there. Or maybe it's check out current clients, browse through there. I can go and just browse for information. So again, I don't have to be all that specific. It's very, very flexible as to how you use this, and that accommodates many different methods of searching, including if you want to go and do advanced searching and actually use advanced searching as a way to narrow information down. Maybe you're used to doing it in Westlaw or Lexis. All the advanced searching is all supported in MetaJure. You can get pretty deep with that. When you type in source code agreement as an example in MetaJure, it's going to look at everything that has source code and agreement in the body of a document or email subject or file name. So if I look for that, I'm going to see a lot of stuff. And so I go ahead and search 2,160 documents and emails. So maybe I want to use advanced searching to help narrow that down. I can always do, like, let's say, put quotes around it, grouping. That would restrict it to everything with source code and agreement with those three words together. a very typical advanced search, go ahead and look for that. Not only on one document, that's all, with source code agreement, 3 words together. Maybe I want to be less restrictive and do a proximity search. Have it within 5 words of each other. Go tilde 5. And then now search. Now I've got 11 documents. So I can verify, sure enough, within 5 words of each other. So that's very typical advanced searching. There's a lot of it that's supported. We have a little cheat sheet on our help screen. If you click on help on the top right, it will remind you how to do it. Other ones like wildcard and Boolean searching. So there's a lot of that. There's also some non-typical advanced searching that's more inherent in MetaJure, like searching on metadata, restricting it by stuff within only the file name or authored by somebody, or just looking at information within certain folders. So there's really a lot you can do, or you can just use very simple searches in MetaJure and still get what you want very quickly. So with that, I think I gave you a pretty good feel for using MetaJure's searching information in there across the entire firm. And if there are any specific questions, please let me know.
I am getting the signal from Patty that we do have a specific question.
Dan, do you have any information on the pricing?
I do. And actually, the pricing is it's based on the size of the firm. So we basically have firm size ranges. So for example, if you're a firm with less than 10 total staff, the cost of MetaJure ILLUMINATE is $2,500 per year. It's done on an annual license fee that it's a SaaS model, so it covers all maintenance, support, and upgrades. So $2,500 is really the starting price, which will cover you up to a team of 10, and then it just goes up from there. So for example, if you had 25 people, it'd be $4,500. So it's all based on firm size. And so we set it up basically so everybody can use it. So we found that the real value is getting everybody on the system and connecting everywhere. And we didn't want to make it a disincentive to do that. So we actually reduced the price to get everybody on the system, but it is based upon total staff. And this is all inclusive too. It includes the OCR piece and everything.
Awesome. A couple things that I note is that relevance is something that I think we lack in our standard, at least that level of relevance in our standard document management systems. I know when you search in Practice Master, you're just doing a search of whatever you've told it to search. In Worldox, I think they try to introduce a little bit of relevance, but certainly not, at least from what I'm seeing, on the scale that you guys have. It's more of a Google-like search, and that's what people want when they type especially into a box that looks like Google. Another thing that I find extremely interesting is that, as the name MetaJure implies, this information, including the OCR, even though that's not metadata, the metadata and the OCR stuff is all happening automatically. So you send an email, and as long as the folder it ends up in is released to the right people, released to MetaJure and opened up to people, it's going to instantly be there. You don't profile this email. You don't do anything to OCR it. The documents that may have been attached, you don't do anything to those. It's all based on the metadata, which means that it's kind of a mindless sort of thing. Now, at that point, I think it's only fair to point out that we're talking about this from adding on to Worldox or adding on to Practice Master pricing model and product. But MetaJure also originally was simply something that just existed on its own. So if you don't have Worldox or you don't have Practice Master, or you're thinking that maybe you want to switch to something like MetaJure, that's also an option. Costs a little bit more. I believe that, help me out here, Dan, but I believe Illuminate is about half the cost of regular MetaJure.
Exactly.
And the price that you were quoting there, Dan, that was the Illuminate product, the $2,500.
Yeah, that was Illuminate. So you're right on, because like the up to 10 to $2,500, if it's used as the document management system, it's exactly twice. It's $5,000 for up to 10. if it's DMS and not Illuminate.
Gotcha. And so I'm extremely interested in the fact that if you don't really need full-blown document management or don't want it or don't want to put it in, that the MetaJure product is kind of document management without having to think about anything, without having to profile anything. Well, I guess we do have to set it up and we do have to install it. But after that's happened, everything just gets indexed and made searchable automatically without any profiling of documents. So that's another interesting concept, although I think we're also going to get a lot of people that have Worldox and Practice Master that want that added comfort of knowing that everything is included, even if it didn't get put into Worldox or Practice Master. Now, this is the point, Dan, where I usually say, here's how it hooks in with Worldox or Practice Master, but it doesn't, in that you don't have to do anything. You still use Worldox or Practice Master the way you normally would. You still put documents away because some people are going to be finding them that way, and there's a lot of order that's imposed by doing that. There's the ability, of course, in Practice Master to, while you've got the matter in front of you, to simply click on the Documents tab and see them all there. So you continue to do that, but you don't have to do anything to go a step further and switch over to the MetaJure search bar and type something other than install it. We don't have to hook it together. There's no integration per se. Same thing with Worldox. So there's really nothing to say there as far as how it integrates. It just does, because it's an add-on product that is there to catch that stuff that didn't get caught in the document management system. And so, of course, if you've ever attended one of our webinars or virtual user group meetings, you know that this is the point where I take you to our website to show you all the other wonderful content that's available to those people that are lucky enough to be using Tabs 3 or Practice Master or Worldox. We have, and it is, by the way, attorneycomputersystems.com. Notice the emphasis on that last S in the word systems, attorneycomputersystems.com. If you hover over the videos menu item, you'll get a little drop down that includes all of our virtual user group meetings. We have one for Tabs, one for Practice Master, one for Worldox. We have an item on our Coffee Pot webinars, which are also held monthly, and that's where you are right now. Those are our 4 live events. We also have pre-recorded videos. Mary Jo has a series of e-bites, we call them. They're little short 2 or 3 minute videos with something really cool that can be explained really quickly. And then our Paul and Mary Jo show, where we'll take something of a broader spectrum and dig deep and take a deep dive into whatever that longer format topic is. And those can go on for 10 or 15 or sometimes even 20 minutes. If you were to click on one of these, for instance, the Coffee Pot webinars, you would find a short description, information on our next Coffee Pot webinar. We're going to be talking about eBilling Hub, 2 places actually to click and register. And then as you scroll down, you will find previous programs. Now here's the one that we're in right now. So naturally, it is currently in post-production. But as you scroll down a little further, here's one that we did about Chrometa. So we have literally, I want to say hundreds and hundreds, but I think we may have over 1,000 videos on our website now, with a lot of this content going back years and years and years. So please take advantage of it, browse through it, use our search bar. Not as powerful as MetaJure's, but we have a search bar too, not quite as relevancy oriented, but use our search bar or browse through the videos and take advantage of that. It's out there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And with that, I will thank Dan and wish everyone a good rest of the day and rest of the month, and we'll see you next month when we are talking about eBilling Hub. Thanks much, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.